Sankhya, one of the 6 orthodox systems of Indian philosophy, known as darshanas, presents a deeply analytical view of the universe and the self. Tracing its roots to ancient texts like the Sankhya Karika by Isvara Krishna and references in the Bhagavad Gita, Sankhya is often considered a forerunner to many Soliwal traditions in India, including Yoga and Vedanta. Sankhya's central teaching revolves around the dualism of Purusa, soul, and Prakrti, nature. According to Sankhya, all of creation is a manifestation of Prakrti, driven by the interplay of the 3 Gunas, Sattva, purity, Rajas, activity, and Tamas, inertia. Purusa, on the other hand, is the eternal witness, unchanging and unaffected by the movements of Prakrti. The goal of Sankhya is to liberate the Purusa from its identification with Prakrti. This is achieved through the development of Viveka, or discriminative knowledge, which allows one to realize the true nature of the self and attain Kaivalya, liberation. The Sankhya system begins with the premise that reality is composed of 2 distinct principles, Prakrti and Purusa. These 2 exist independently, yet their interaction gives rise to all experiences, the material world, and the process of life. Prakrti is the fundamental substance of the universe. It is unmanifest, eternal, and the source of all material things. From Prakrti emerge the elements, mind, senses, and ego. Prakrti is always active, driven by the interplay of the 3 Gunas. 1. Sattva, harmony, the quality of lightness, purity, and balance. 2. Rajas, passion, the quality of energy, activity, and restlessness. 3. Tamas, inertia, the quality of darkness, ignorance, and lethargy. These 3 qualities are present in everything in the universe, and their constant interaction creates the dynamic nature of the world. The evolution of the universe occurs when these gunas become unbalanced, leading to the manifestation of various elements and life forms. Purusa is the pure consciousness, the self or soul. It is passive, inactive, and unaffected by the changes in Prakrti. Purusa is the observer, the knower of experiences, but it does not participate in the activities of the mind, senses, or body. The key teaching of Sankhya is that the suffering of the soul arises from the misidentification of Purusa with Prakrti. When the self, Purusa, identifies with the body and senses, which belong to Prakrti, it becomes bound by the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Liberation, moksha, occurs when the Purusa realizes its true nature as distinct from Prakrti. Creation and evolution in Sankhya. Sankhya describes the process of creation and evolution in terms of the unfolding of tattvas, principles. According to Sankhya, there are 24 tattvas, which represent the stages of creation from the unmanifest Prakrti to the manifested universe. 1. Prakrti, unmanifest nature, the source of all matter. 2. Mahat, cosmic intelligence, the first evolution from Prakrti, which gives rise to the intellect buddhi. 3. Ahamkara, ego, the sense of individuality that arises from Mahat. 4. Manas, mind, the faculty of thought and perception arising from Ahamkara. 5. 5 sense organs, Jnanendriyas, sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. 6. 5 motor organs, Karmendriyas, speech, hands, feet, excretion, and reproduction. 7. 5 tanmatras, subtle elements, sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. 8. 5 mahabhutas, gross elements, earth, water, fire, air, and ether. This process of evolution begins with the unmanifest state of Prakrti and leads to the complex diversity of the material world, including the physical body and the senses. The goal of Sankhya is to understand this process and realize that the true self, Purusa, is separate from the material manifestations of Prakrti. Bondage and liberation in Sankhya. In Sankhya, bondage refers to the attachment of Purusa to the material world of Prakrti. This attachment arises from ignorance, avidya, which causes the self to identify with the body, mind, and senses. Sankhya identifies 3 types of bondage. 1. Prakritika bondage. This occurs when one mistakes Prakrti for Purusa and becomes absorbed in the material world, thinking that the physical body and senses are the self. 2. Vikritika bondage. This arises from the identification with the products of Prakrti, such as the intellect, ego, and mind. Individuals who focus solely on these aspects of themselves are bound by them. 3. Dakshinika bondage. This results from selfish actions and desires. When people perform good deeds but do so with a desire for personal gain, they remain trapped in the cycle of karma and rebirth. The key to liberation in Sankhya is the development of Viveka, or discriminative wisdom. This wisdom allows one to see the distinction between Purusa and Prakrti. leading to the realization that the self is not the body, mind, or senses. Once this realization occurs, the individual becomes free from the cycle of birth and death. Sankhya teaches that liberation is not a state of merging with the divine, as in some other Indian philosophies, but rather a state of complete separation from Prakrti. When the Purusa no longer identifies with the products of Prakrti, it attains Kaivalya, isolation, the ultimate state of freedom and bliss. The role of buddhi, intellect, in Sankhya. In the Sankhya system, buddhi, intellect, plays a crucial role in the process of creation and evolution. It is the first principle to emerge from Prakrti and serves as the seat of wisdom and discernment. Buddhi can take on 8 different dispositions or states, which influence an individual's experience and perception of reality. 1. Ignorance, viparya, a state of confusion and misunderstanding, where one is unable to see the true nature of things. 2. Disability, asakti, a lack of ability or power to act or understand. 3. Contentment, tusti, a state of satisfaction and acceptance, often leading to complacency. 4. Success, siddhi, the achievement of goals, which can lead to attachment to the results of actions. 5. Sattva, harmony, a state of balance and purity, where one can perceive the truth clearly. 6. Rajas, passion, a state of restlessness and activity, where one is driven by desires. 7. Tamas, inertia, a state of darkness and ignorance, where one is unable to act or perceive clearly. 8. Discriminative wisdom, Viveka, the highest state of buddhi, where one is able to discern the true nature of the self and attain liberation. The development of discriminative wisdom is the key to breaking free from the cycle of bondage and achieving liberation. It is through the cultivation of buddhi that one can gain the clarity needed to see the distinction between Purusa and Prakrti. The 3 types of karma in Sankhya. Karma, or action, plays a central role in the Sankhya system. All actions have consequences, and these consequences can either bind the soul to the cycle of birth and death or lead to liberation. Sankhya identifies 3 types of karma. 1. Sattvic karma, actions that are pure, selfless, and performed with a sense of duty. These actions lead to soul growth and liberation. 2. Rasic karma, actions driven by desire, ambition, and attachment to results. These actions lead to restlessness and continued rebirth. 3. Tamasic karma, actions performed out of ignorance, laziness, or harm to others. These actions lead to further ignorance and suffering. Sankhya teaches that by performing sattvic karma, pure actions, and renouncing the attachment to the results of actions, one can gradually free oneself from the cycle of karma and attain liberation. Sankhya's path to liberation. The path to liberation in Sankhya is through the cultivation of knowledge and wisdom. Unlike other systems that emphasize devotion or ritual practices, Sankhya focuses on understanding the nature of reality and the self. The process of attaining discriminative knowledge, Viveka, involves 1. Understanding the nature of Prakrti and Purusa. 2. Recognizing the difference between the self and the body, mind, and senses. 3. Detaching from the products of Prakrti, such as desires, ego, and ignorance. 4. Cultivating a state of dispassion towards worldly experiences. This process leads to the realization that the self is eternal, unchanging, and distinct from the material world. Once this realization occurs, the individual is no longer bound by the cycle of birth and death, and attains Kaivalya, liberation. The relationship between Sankhya and other philosophical systems. Sankhya is often considered the theoretical foundation of yoga, which provides the practical methods for achieving liberation. While Sankhya focuses on understanding the nature of the self and the universe, yoga offers the tools and techniques for purifying the mind and body. Sankhya emphasizes dualism, the separation of Purusa and Prakrti, whereas Vedanta advocates non-dualism, the unity of the self with Brahman, the ultimate reality. Sankhya posits the existence of an eternal, unchanging self, while Buddhism denies the existence of a permanent self. Practical applications of Sankhya philosophy in daily life. Sankhya offers practical guidance for living a life of balance, wisdom, and detachment. By understanding the interplay of the Gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, and cultivating discriminative wisdom, individuals can lead more harmonious and purposeful lives. In conclusion, Sankhya philosophy offers a profound and comprehensive view of the universe, the self, and the path to liberation. By understanding the nature of Prakrti and Purusa, recognizing the role of the Gunas in shaping experiences, and developing discriminative wisdom, individuals can free themselves from the cycle of birth and death and attain a state of ultimate freedom and bliss. Please join me in spreading these profound teachings by subscribing, liking, and sharing. Thank you.